Well, hello there. This is Amber Parrott from the Morgan James Author Support Team, and I have the privilege of speaking with author Suzanne B. Simpson, the author of Lost and Restored: Healing Hearts with the Father. Suzanne, thank you for joining me today. I'd love to jump in and just ask you some questions about your book.
Great. I'm anxious to get started.
I love it. All right. So, what inspired you to write this book? What was the inspiration you had?
Well, feel like that many people in the church and believers don't really understand how do they really flesh out their life emotionally in an intimate way with the Lord. And I feel like they go to church, they get great sermons, but that emotional piece of dealing with feelings is pretty much left out at times. And so I just wanted to really inspire people to see that Christ could really do this inner healing type work.
Yes, wow, that's such a good and powerful concept. I agree. There's so many sermons out there where people hear it and might even take notes and try to take it home, but they don't know how to apply that to their inner life. So, what kind of readers would be drawn to this book?
The readers that I found are drawn to it are people that have had some life experiences, and that way they have some need to look at maybe their relationship challenges that haven't been working well in their marriage, or they have some addiction problem. They might even have some abuse that they've never taken a look at. And I find that I give lots of inspirational testimonies of people that have gone through this type of healing work, so people can identify and they can see that many times, they're not alone. They're like just other people that have had these types of traumas in their life, and they're not huge traumas maybe, but there's all levels.
Yeah.
I find people that have gotten the best help from the book, they've had breakthroughs because they were able to get to a rooted area. Maybe it was a challenge they were having in a relationship, but they weren't able to identify, what were the emotions that were at the deeper level that they didn't even know were there. Maybe they were subconscious. So those are people that typically I find have had breakthroughs. And it's really inspiring to hear from people and say, gosh, I read your book and I got a breakthrough.
That's amazing. How powerful. I love that you mentioned that, it could be a trauma, both big or small, because there's nothing too small for God and there's nothing too big for God. So that's beautiful.
Mhm.
So, what is
Yeah.
one of the biggest takeaways that readers get from reading your book?
Well, again, I think it's able to help them get to some of the rooted areas where maybe one person said she had no idea what was causing some of her relationship challenges, and she was able to identify some self-sabotaging type behavior. I've had other people say that they have had a greater ability to have intimacy with the Lord in a way they didn't know was possible, because they didn't really realize that God could be a loving, caring God that cares about every level of their life. And
Right.
that emotional intimacy is something that I think people have taken away from this book.
Wow, that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So, you have this beautiful book out there. Readers, I encourage you to check out Lost and Restored wherever books are for sale. And if those readers want to get connected with you, Suzanne, where can they find you?
I have a website that's pretty developed over the years. It's renewedlifecounseling.com, and it has all kinds of information. So you can understand not only about the book, but, my practice and how I've worked with people emotionally through the years. Had some huge testimonies of people that I've counseled, and that I've used a lot of these inner healing type methods to really rooted issues that they've had that talk therapy just left off at a certain level. So those are the kind of people that typically like my practice and like the book, and that they can learn more about it through my website. Also have social media. I'm pretty developed there with Facebook. I have Renewed Living, I think is how my business page is labeled. And then I am on Instagram. So again, it's Renewed Life Living. And you can see a lot about, kind of my focus and how I best really can support you in your emotional growth. I also have the cover here. I'd like to show it.
Yeah, I'd
So
love to see it.
the cover of the book, and This was inspired by um, the idea of sheep, because we all feel lost at times, and we're kind of like sheep that go astray. And so throughout the book, I've peppered the idea of the good shepherd. And that way people can see that, we can identify with sheep and why it was mentioned so many times in scripture.
Right, right.
Excited about how Morgan James has been able to capture my vision in this book cover.
Well, I'm glad that you had such a beautiful vision and that we were able to partner with that. So thank you so much for joining me, Suzanne, and congratulations on the release of your book.
Oh, thank you so much.